Binder. Great, Binder.
We're good? All righty, everyone. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Welcome, one and all. To those of us who have gathered here in our sanctuary, welcome. Glad to have you with us. Glad to have faces to look out at. For those of you joining us on our YouTube channel, thank you for joining us. To our tech team this evening, a truly big kudos and thank you. We have jumped a whole level with tonight's service in that not only are we streaming, but in addition, we have a number of recorded parts of our service, thanks to Alyssa Hess, which have all been lined up that you will be able to see and hear on the screen. So this is a new step for us, a whole big step forward. You can even see me there, albeit with a slight delay. So don't read my lips there. It'll drive you crazy. And so thank you to David Youngman, to Chris Jastrock, to Arjun Ramesh, and to Phil Carey, who actually tonight has the night off. He's hopefully watching us. Phil, we'll make you proud tonight. And let me invite our president, Dina Jastrock, for some wise words.
Shabbat Shalom. Welcome,
Shalom.
everyone. I don't know how wise they'll be, but they will be words. And tonight is Sisterhood Shabbat. We're very happy to welcome members of Sisterhood, rather if they're here or if they're watching on YouTube. Sisterhood does a wonderful job in raising funds and having exciting activities. This year they get a lot of credit for having exciting and interesting and fun meetings on Zoom. And we had pretty good attendance, so props to the board of directors and everyone who planned the programs. It was a good year, and we're looking forward to finally meeting in person. Also, bravo to Alyssa Hess for putting the service together and for videotaping or video recording everyone. I know I'm looking forward to tonight's service. Please remain masked at all times, and please remain in your seats at the end of the service, and you will be dismissed by rows. As you leave, there will be grab-and-go bags for everyone, sponsored by Sisterhood tonight, some special treats for us, courtesy of Sisterhood. The virtual flowers tonight are also sponsored by Sisterhood. And that's really all I have to say. I'd rather move to Sisterhood. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
I hope you're all doing well. I am Alyssa Hess, the Vice President of Religion for Sisterhood. Tonight is very special because it is Sisterhood Shabbat. Sisterhood has organized and will be leading a beautiful service tonight, as well as honor our newest Golden Girls and uninstall our current board and install our new Sisterhood board. This year has been a wild ride. I remember back in March 2020, I was in my adult neurology class 2 weeks before spring break. My professor was explaining that for the rest of the quarter, my university would be closed due to this crazy virus called COVID-19. This virus that started over in China in December 2019 that couldn't touch us. Somehow us Americans were immune to this flu, and we kept on living like nothing was wrong and it wasn't going to make it across the world. Well, somehow those 2 weeks that my university was closed turned into a year and a half. And boy, has that time flown by. Suddenly, we were forced into lockdown, and we learned 2 new words, quarantine and social distancing. With these words, we had to stay 6 feet apart, or the length of 1 alligator, or 4 beagles, or 18 chihuahuas. However you look at it, we could no longer see our friends. We could no longer hug each other. We had to stay distant, which for humans is very difficult. And if we wanted to see each other, it had to be outside, socially distant, for less than 15 minutes, and while wearing masks. And remember those crazy events that happened? On top of everything that was going on, we ran out of toilet paper. People were dying from murder hornets, and thousands who were supposed to be at home were rioting in the streets. We also encountered a lot of loss. The Summer Olympics were canceled, graduation and wedding ceremonies were canceled or postponed, and we couldn't eat out at restaurants, causing some of our favorites to close. And we lost a lot of lives. Our hospitals became overcrowded and our system collapsed. COVID-19 caused many, many deaths, and many who did not have COVID-19 but were in the hospital for other ailments died because we did not have enough resources for a pandemic and for them. Through it all, though, look where we are. A year and a half later, I can say that each day I still smile. I still make jokes and I still laugh. I wake up in the morning and I am thankful for the people in my life and the things that I have. While there were a lot of bad things that have happened the past year and a half, let us focus on the good. While at home, we worked hard to keep our boredom at bay. Some found good books to read, some baked, many cooked, and others gardened. Some found new instruments to play, many walked and exercised, some brought out their sewing machines and made masks, and others rescued new pets to keep them company. Either way, we kept ourselves busy. We learned new technology, we stayed in touch, and we reached out to our family members and friends we hadn't spoken to in a while. Through it all, I believe quarantine made us better from the things that we did, the things that we learned, and through our growth as individuals and as a community. So join me tonight as Sisterhood members lead our worship service and tell us how quarantine made them better. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Alyssa, for that wonderful recap, humorous recap. And yes, I am looking forward to learning from our women all the ways in which this pandemic helped us grow and become more than what we were. In addition, we have Shabbat greetings that come from a number of our congregants, Ted and Noel Singer, Rita and Bob Rubin, Jeff and Wilma Shear. Rita is here with us. Thank you very much, Rita, for your continued support. I want to acknowledge that Jeff is a past president of our congregation. And as you heard, the virtual floral arrangement that you can see there is made of masks. As a bouquet of colorful masks to enable us to recount the times that we have learned how to wear masks and when to wear them. And a special Shabbat shout-out. Congratulations to Alyssa Hess on her upcoming graduation, and welcome to the world of working women. Speech therapists have a way with words. Love, Flo, and Mark. And I wish to acknowledge that Flo is here with us this evening. Glad to have you with us. And hope Mark is watching. And again, as you heard, our grab-and-go Oneg bags sponsored by our Temple Bethor Sisterhood. You will pick them up on your way out. And lastly, Sisterhood has made a generous donation to the Interfaith Food Center in honor of this Sisterhood Shabbat. The Interfaith Food Center, located just over in Santa Fe Springs, is an organization that we routinely contribute to. Our High Holiday Food Drive goes to that organization, and food is dispensed from there to those who are hungry, to food banks, to those who need food. So thank you very much, Sisterhood, for a marvelous way to honor yourselves by providing help and food to those who are in need. With that, we will take this opportunity to welcome Shabbat with the words of Shalom Aleichem. As Alyssa so rightfully noted in her comments, we have traveled this last year and a half and found ways to reach out to each other, found ways to connect. We found ways to be messengers to others, and others were able to be messengers to us as well. Shalom Aleichem is our way of greeting all of those messengers, those of flesh and blood, those of spirit, those of memory. Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Hasharet, מלאכי השרת, מלאכי היום, מלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש, הקדוש ברוך הוא. מלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש, הקדוש ברוך הוא. מלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש, הקדוש ברוך הוא. כוחם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי היום. מלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ברכוני לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי היום. מלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש, הקדוש ברוך מלאכי השלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי היום. מלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש, הקדוש ברוך הוא. מלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש, הקדוש ברוך הוא. מלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש, הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvot tav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who fills our lives with holiness and commands us to bring light to Shabbat. Is someone you know?
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner, lehadlik ner,
Quarantine made me better because I became more appreciative. We all knew 2020 and the beginning of 2021 would be unique, The days turned into weeks, then months, then a year. The government repeatedly gave warnings of social distancing, and the world sat there listening. Today, I am thankful for family, but it is not just me. It is all of us internationally. Another reason for gratitude is technology and all the scientists who studied biology. And the people who right now work hardest of all are the nurses and the teachers who stand up so tall. This is for all the people who have lost their jobs in the pandemic and all those who work as paramedics. This is for all the people suffering from COVID-19. This is for all of those who kept their hands clean. This is to make you realize that we should be thankful for many things at this time.
Quarantine made me better because I fell deeper in love with books. In quarantine, we've been stuck at home, wishing more than anything to roam. Would you like to travel far from the place where now you are? Read a book. Would you nature's secrets know, how her children live and grow? Read a book. Is it adventure that you crave, on land or on ocean wave? Read a book. Would you like to talk with kings or to fly with Lindbergh's wings? Read a book. Would you look on days gone by, no scientific reasons why? Read a book. The world before you will unfold, for a magic key you hold in a book. Dedicated to Marian Gasser and the TBO Sisterhood Book Club.
We continue with the words of our Baruch Hu, our call to worship. I invite us to rise as we are able.
La 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 Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach HaMevorach Leolam Va'ed HaMevorach HaMevorach Leolam Va'ed.
We may be seated.
Baruch Ata Adonai, Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokhma poteach she'arim, uvidvuna meshane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umesader et hakochavim, b'mishmeroteihem barakia kirtzono. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. Uma'avir yom umevi layla, umavdil ben yom uven layla, Adonai tzvaot shamo, El chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch alenu leolam va'ed. Baruch ata Adonai hama'ariv aravim.
Quarantine made me better because I discovered my love for Netflix. COVID-19 came and stayed. It canceled all of our plans, and you realize deep down that you really didn't want to go out to begin with. Oh, Netflix, loyal companion, always there with a new experience, always there with a unique laugh, there as long as I remember to pay the internet bill. Oh, Netflix, I have laughed and cried with you. You have saved me from the outside world. Give me your best, Netflix, and I will continue to give you my money. Give me British dramas. Give me horror movies. Give me sappy romantic comedies that I already know how they'll end. Oh, Netflix, you have saved me during quarantine. Without you, my time would have been more boring. Thanks for sticking around through it all. Love, your favorite customer.
Quarantine made me better because it taught me how to have hope. We are fighting this hand in hand, taking care of our people and land. We are minding one another, sister, brother, father, and mother. I know it's a pain being stuck in your home, but look, you have your mobile phone, you can send a message, have a bit of fun, or go to the park and have a good run. Keep yourself busy while you are at home, and remember, you are not alone. The whole world is the same. We are all in this game. We will win the battle and look forward to better days, rainbows and sunny rays. So keep the rules up and play your part. Jump up and down. It's good for your heart. We know it's cruel to stick to the rule, but you don't want to be a fool. So keep the good work up. It will pay off in the end, and we will all be free once again.
Afraid and you don't know what to say, then listen to our God. Is there a question on your mind? Is the answer hard to find? Listen to our God. Listen with all your heart and soul, and with all your might. Write them and learn them and teach them well, every morning and night. The chatter that gets in the way, and listen to our God. When the wind and thunder finally disappear, there's still a voice that you will hear if you listen. Listen to our God. You can hear it from the top of the highest hill, or from the valley below. It can come from the edge of the universe. It can come from within your soul.
may be seated.
את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך וחיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם להות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים לחיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Quarantine made me better because I provided parents with some relief. 'Twas the day of distance learning, and all through the room, the children were getting ready to talk to their teachers through Zoom. The backgrounds were selected, most with great care, in hopes that their teacher would soon be there. The children were huddled all snug for their call, while parents hoped that she could help with it all. Mama fretted the science and Dad feared the math, but the children were waiting and all started their path. When up on the screen arose such a clatter, Mom sprang to the device to see what was the matter. The microphone wouldn't work, the connection was bad, the internet was down, and everyone blamed Dad. When what to her wondering eyes should appear but their teacher, to calm all their greatest fears. With a patient smile so lively with ease, Mom knew the homework would now be a breeze. More rapid than eagles, the understanding came. Her children delighted as she called them by name. Now Billy, now Jane, now Coral and Sarah, on Breezy and Richie and Ocean and Tara. To your books, she cried, to your work, do it all. Then dash away, dash away, dash away all. As leaves before the hurricane fly, the children started to work, and they didn't even cry. And throughout all the houses, through their courses they flew, through English and writing and algebra too. Then, with a wink of her eye and a twist of her head, their teacher told parents they had nothing to dread. She spoke not a word, but checked her children's work. Then she filled up the grade book and turned with a jerk. She was thanked so kindly as she waved goodbye. Before she ended the Zoom, they all let out a sigh. And then she exclaimed before she went out of sight, "You're doing great with distance learning. It will all be all right."
Quarantine made me better because I learned that superheroes don't have capes. Not flying in the sky or jumping from the high. Not a name or a sign saving lives, yours and mine. Working day and night to make everything all right, without a sleep or a rest, always doing their best. Close encounters they have had, fighting a battle with the bad. Doctors, nurses, and everyone else not worrying once about themselves. Saving lots of lives without an armor or a drape. Yes, you are superheroes who don't need a cape.
Dancing with their timbrels, followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a a song to the one who we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. And Miriam was a weaver of unique variety. The tapestry she wove was one which sang our history. With every thread and every strand she crafted her delight. A woman touched with spirit, she dances toward the lights. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one who we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. When Miriam stood above the shore and gazed upon the sea, the wonders of a miracle she soon came to believe. Whoever thought she would part with an outstretched hand, and we would pass to freedom and march to the promised land. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one who we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. And Miriam the prophet took her timbrel in her hand, and all the women followed her just as she had planned. And Miriam raised her voice in song, she sang with praise and might. We just lived through a miracle, we're gonna dance tonight. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one who we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long.
Quarantine made us better because we learned to appreciate smiles. It's the smallest ones that can be there first, the larger ones that make you wonder why. Those that you see from across the room, those that make you laugh when you see them. They can be warm and kind. A sly one can make you wonder why. A sly one can bring on a blush. An honest one can show love. Perhaps it's meant as a sign of approval and a sign of everything being okay. It can be friendly, welcoming, and compassionate. A mother can wipe the tears away without even so much as a touch.
These are what we miss in these days of the pandemic. The big ones, the little ones, and all of those in between. Perhaps we can all smile our smiles again soon. Most likely, we have many things in common these days. Common things like having to wear a mask in public. Bothersome things like trying to not run out of toilet paper, paper towels, and disinfectant wipes. Or perhaps, like us, you worry about the larger things, perhaps both fearing for our lives, or fearing for those that we love around us. For us, it's also the smiles that we miss most. Sure, we have taken the smiles of others for granted throughout our lives, but now that they are gone, covered by the very masks that protect us, prayers and hopes that we will soon be able to share our smiles with one another again very soon. But for now, remember, your eyes express so much too. While you wear your mask that hides your smile, practice smiling with your eyes.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
Quarantine made me better because I learned, for better or for worse, how fortunate I am. Because of the pandemic, I get to work from home. Because I have a home. Lucky for that. I get to shop for groceries, 2 weeks' worth at a time. Because I have a roof and walls and kitchen cabinets. And I'm lucky for those as well. Going on small walks, the hills and flowers are full of spring. They brighten up my dreary day. Lucky for that. Lately, when I go walking, I wear a black baseball cap from a dozen years ago that says, "Be happy," because happiness is something we choose. And when I walk, I see the faces, keeping social distances, doing the dance. Yet they're still close enough to read the hat, and I think they are feeling what I'm feeling, that maybe there are days ahead, as good or maybe better than those we left behind. So tonight, as we pray, let us remember how lucky we are to see others on walks or online, thankful for each and every day.
We continue with the words of our tefillah. I invite us to rise as we are able.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufia tehillatech. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim v'Koneh Hakol, v'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה.
We may be seated.
Quarantine made me better because I discovered the power of creativity. Everyone is being creative in lockdown. Seems to be the only show in town. I leave the house, walk down the street, many people. It's artists I meet. New age artists with new inspiration. After lockdown, they'll inspire the nation. People will venture into pastures new, thinking their talents are only a few. Creativity in lockdown brings families together. The bond is beautiful to last forever. Parents and children all get stuck in the loving bond through thick and thin. Staying inside and making something great, especially with all the trouble in the world today, brings happiness to friends and family, making art in lockdown for all to see. Creativity in lockdown is heavenly bliss. Completing art projects helps me reminisce. Art provides celestial serenity to share with everyone in complete entirety.
Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amecha, Tasim le'olam, Tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amecha, Tasim le'olam, Tasim le'olam. Ki ata hu melech, ki ata hu melech, Adon lechol hashalom, lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amecha, Tasim le'olam, Tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amecha, Tasim le'olam, Tasim le'olam. V'tov beinecha levarech et amacha Yisrael b'chol eit uv'chol shah b'shlomecha. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amecha, Tasim le'olam, Tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amecha, Tasim le'olam, Tasim le'olam. Baruch atah Adonai, Hamevarech et amo Yisrael, Hamevarech et amo Yisrael, Shalom.
Quarantine made me better because I took time for myself, physically and mentally. I urge you to take a break from your phone and take yourself to a peaceful zone. Your wish, sit with your family or alone. Meditate and relax each of your bone. I urge you to bring your workout mats and daily dose of 40 squats. Take more vitamins but less fats. Get distant from your social media chats. I urge you to simply work out. You may dance or laugh or run or shout. Be confident with no self-doubt. Twist, stretch, jump, and turnabout. I urge you to stay mentally sound because fitness is not physically bound. I urge you to share your feelings and emotions. Empty your brain from false notions. I urge you to stay healthy and fit because any illness in this pandemic would differently hit. Stay fit physically and mentally. Stay sound emotionally and spiritually.
An appropriate reading and thought as we continue with the words of our Misha Berach, giving us the opportunity to remind ourselves not only about our own self-care, but to bring into our hearts those who are facing challenges to their own care, those who are struggling to find wholeness and health. I invite you during the musical interlude between the paragraphs to share aloud the name of a loved one, thus we might bring them here into this space and into our hearts. May all who are facing challenges to their health and their well-being be blessed on their journey, a journey that will bring them to a refuah shlema, a return to the wholeness that they seek, the shalom that they desire. Baruch atah Adonai rofei hacholim. We praise you, O God, who helps us bring hope and healing to those who are in need. And let us say, Amen.
מקור הברכה לאמותינו. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage, make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. מקור הברכה לאבותינו. Bless those in need of healing, ורפואה שלמה, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Quarantine made me better because I learned to connect with people in new ways. Everyone's on video calls with Zoom and Team and Skype, which means that I can see your face. I don't just have to type. We're talking on the phone more. The internet is buzzing. I'm catching up with old school friends and messaging my cousin. There's WhatsApp for my family and friends who are on furlough. It gets a bit frustrating when the Wi-Fi is on a go slow. Let's keep in touch by any means, by phone or app or post, checking with friends and neighbors and those you love the most.
Be the best you. Quarantine made me better because I learned that there's plenty to keep me busy. If only I was sent a clue, something like a sign on what to do. That would help my daily life, which at the moment is far from paradise. We're stuck at home away from friends. Maybe it's time to make amends. Either look for your long-lost hobby or jump around your back garden like a little froggy. Look around and be inventive. Keep active and be attentive. All you have to think and say is, you know what? There's plenty for me to do today. Go build your own creation. Who knows, you could even plan a vacation. You're not the only one hoping for Corona to go away. Let us pray that it will someday. Was this your sign, your lucky clue? Just look around, there's plenty to do. You just got to be the best of you. Before we proceed with our uninstallation of our current board and installation of our new board, we have a special presentation for our Golden Girls. As Vice President of Membership, it is my honor to recognize our Sisterhood members who have turned 80 during the past fiscal year, or who have joined Sisterhood in the past year already having turned 80. Although we cannot be together to celebrate, we want to recognize Joyce Kessler and Deli Harris as our newest additions to our Golden Girls. Joyce and Deli, it's a privilege to get older, and in your age there is a fountain of youth, your mind, your talents, and the creativity you bring to your life and the lives of people you love. Stay golden.
Hello and thank you, Alyssa Hess, Rabbi Mark Goldfarb, Cantor Jaffe, and Dr. Ray Irwin for such a wonderful Sisterhood Shabbat. It was wonderful. Thank you. Thank you also to David Youngman, Chris Jastrock, and Arjun Ramesh, so that we were able to share such a wonderful service with everyone unable to attend in person tonight. I think it's safe to say that I have had a more interesting term than most of any of our past Sisterhood presidents. Even though it meant serving during a pandemic, I am so thankful that I was elected as your Sisterhood president for the past 2 terms. It has allowed me to grow as a person, further strengthen my ties to Judaism, and strengthen my friendships with the wonderful women who have served on the Sisterhood board. Their kindness, patience, and willingness to help is deeply appreciated. This past year, Sisterhood has continued to have our monthly programs, help our community by donating blankets to Project Linus, funds to IFC, and donating money towards the temple's streaming. I have a thank you gift for the members of this year's board. When I started my term as president, I gave a B-shaped pin to each of the board members, asking them to be creative, be thoughtful, and be kind when we were planning our Sisterhood year. This was definitely exceeded. As Dina mentioned, we had a full couple years of wonderful programs. So I hope this gift serves as a reminder to everyone. If you can come up, if you were on the board this year, to get your gift. Let's see. Alyssa Hess, Leslie Berger, Flo Bornstein, Cher Kritschmar, Rita Rubin, Donna Berglis Hess, and Mila, who's not here tonight. Oh, Mila, where are you? Oh, wonderful. So, hold on.
Are there names on them?
No.
Okay.
No, there's no names on them.
And then I have a little extra gift for Cher Kritschmar. This is going to be her first year in almost a decade where she won't be serving on the board. So it's from your favorite winery. So we'll be meeting soon to plan our 2022 Sisterhood year. May it be a healthy, happy, and less eventful one for all. Shabbat Shalom.
But
Thank you.
So you may as well stay here for just a moment. Let me see, we got some. While you are here, you have participated in meetings, you have engaged in activities, indeed, under a very challenging year. And because of those efforts and because of those energies, the women of Temple Beth Or were enriched. On behalf of all of us, we thank you for your tireless dedication, your commitment, your hours of meetings, and all of the things that you have done. And at least for some of you, you are now totally free from sisterhood obligations. You are hereby officially uninstalled. Your term has completed. You are free. And that is that. But we want to invite up Eileen McNella. So who are we saying goodbye to? Cher. Bye, Cher. And with that, we want to invite up our next and newest board member, Eileen McNella, who is taking on the role of secretary. And so this then serves as the board of our sisterhood. We have Leslie Berger, executive vice president, Flo Bornstein, vice president of membership, Donna Berglis Hess, treasurer, Alyssa Hess, vice president of religion, Eileen McNella, secretary, as I mentioned, Rita Rubin, programs chair, Mila Tsirlin, financial secretary, Susan Carey, who's not able to be with us, but hopefully watching Susan, publicity chair, and Joanne Kotkin takes on the role of immediate past president. Now, when I think of sisterhood, when I think of the things that sisterhood does and that women do, it takes me back to a very fond memory as a small child when my mother made us chocolate chip cookies. I remember the sweet ooey gooiness of the chocolate chips. I remember the flavor of these crispy cookies. I preferred mine a little less cooked so that they were really kind of ooey and gooey. My sisters preferred them more crispy and crunchy. My mom would always take the time to cook two different batches. Extra crispy for my sisters, and still kind of on the raw side where you might want to eat them with a spoon for me. And so I want to build on this cookie idea for installation. And so I have for each of you the following. So the key ingredient, of course, in a cookie recipe, the one that takes up the most, is flour, right? You've got to have flour. If you don't have flour, you're not going to end up with cookies. It provides the structure for the baked product. And for the Temple Beth Or Sisterhood, all of you officers are the flour that is going to bind our sisterhood leadership together. And yet, in addition, each of you are bringing your own special ingredient. Leslie Berger, our executive vice president. Salt. She giggles, they giggle, but without salt, cookies would taste flat and unappealing. You need the salt to bring out the sweetness of cookies. And so, Leslie, it will be your responsibility to work with the other officers to create the agendas for the meetings and help develop and organize events and functions that keep our sisterhood active and appealing. Flo Bornstein, membership. Even though this ingredient isn't added in the recipe until the very end, it is nevertheless the most important item in the chocolate chip cookie, and that is chocolate chips. Those chocolate chips represent all the members of Temple Beth Or Sisterhood, and it will be your responsibility to include current members and to create opportunities to add future members and more chocolate chips into the cookie dough. Donna Berglis Hess, our treasurer. Cookies just would not be cookies without butter. You've got to have butter. That provides the richness and the tenderness. And it is the sisterhood's treasurer's responsibility to manage sisterhood's riches. to keep accurate financial records, and to provide monthly reports. Alyssa Hess, Vice President of Religion. It doesn't take much, just a little bit, a tiny bit of this, but that's what adds a special extra flavor to the chocolate chip cookie, and that is vanilla. You've got to have vanilla. That rich, sweet aroma lets everyone know that cookies are baking. Just like the spice boxes on our Havdalah sets, the aroma and the flavor of vanilla represents our spiritual selves. And as religious vice president, as you have clearly demonstrated tonight and on all the previous services, it will be your responsibility to create those opportunities for the women of Temple Beth Or to connect with the spiritual side of Judaism. Eileen Mignella, secretary. Eggs. Gotta have eggs. Eggs help bind together all those ingredients that have been mentioned into this cookie dough. And as secretary, your job is much like the job of those eggs. The minutes you keep so carefully hold together all of the details of the sisterhood meetings. Your minutes also form the permanent record of the Temple Beth Or Sisterhood, binding current members to all those who have ever served and have ever belonged to sisterhood in the past, and all who ever will in the future. Rita Rubin, programs. Though not specifically an ingredient, this particular item, without this particular item, our cookies would become a burnt mess in the oven. A baking sheet. It is the baking sheet that provides the foundation upon which the raw cookie dough becomes that tender, flaky, ooey gooey treat that we all enjoy. Without programs to enable the various components of our sisterhood to gather together in a meaningful fashion, the officers and the members would all remain in a state of potentiality, never becoming a warm, tasty, and satisfying experience. Milet Sirlin, financial secretary. Sugar. Got to have sugar in the cookies. Sugar is the ingredient that adds flavor and sweetness to the cookie dough. Cookie dough. Communication is a very important part of all sisterhood business. And you would want others to know how sweet sisterhood is. And so as financial secretary, it'll be your responsibility to acknowledge all those sweet gifts and donations that sisterhood receives and to acknowledge that sweetness. Susan Carey. Really good cookies don't have one kind of sugar, they have two. Susan Carey, for you, brown sugar. It's another sweet addition to the cookie dough, but a little different in flavor. You could say it spices up the recipe just like publicity entices and invites the sisterhood members to participate. It will be your job to add your creative spice to the programs and all the events going on with sisterhoods to let everybody know what's taking place. Joanne Kotkin, past president. So far, we've got almost all the essential ingredients, but there's one item missing without which we would just end up with, well, a matzah cookie. And that is baking powder. Baking powder is the leavening agent in the cookie dough. We add leavening to lighten the texture of the cookies to make them fluffy. On their own, leaveners bubble, but might not accomplish anything. If you just mixed up baking soda, it just kind of lies there. But when that baking soda is combined with the other ingredients, then it just does the job properly. The past president is sisterhood's leavening agent. Your job is to help guide the officers and members by being a connection to past decisions and activities, as well as encouraging innovation to help sisterhood rise and grow. And so, ladies, as you now accept these positions, but as the leadership of Temple Beth Or Sisterhood, I say to you the words that Moses shared as he transferred leadership to Joshua, Chazak ve'imetz libecha. Be strong and of good courage. As this past year has tried and tested you in ways none of us imagined, indeed tried all of us in ways none of us could have imagined. You have risen to that challenge, and you did so with great strength and with great courage, and our sisterhood and our temple are enriched because of that. Hopefully with smoother waters ahead, Be strong and of good courage. Your sisterhood ladies are with you. Their temple is with you. Your Rabbi and Cantor are with you. We are all with you to see that Temple Beth Or Sisterhood succeeds in becoming all that it can become during this coming year. Chazak v'imetz libecha. Be strong and of good courage. Together, sisterhood has a very bright future. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the 2021-22 Sisterhood Board of Directors. Mazel tov. Thank you. We want to share something special with all of you. A couple weeks ago, we had, well, actually it was longer than that, the Salinger family came to the temple with a desire to want to create something new. Create something new and to give us the opportunity to enhance our educational programming. And thanks to the generosity of Dr. Charles Salinger and May Salinger, we have done exactly that. We have dedicated and remodeled, fortunately, our former library room into the May Salinger Learning Center and Meeting Room. For the past 14 years, as I would assign various classrooms to our teachers, it was always the most difficult task of assigning someone to teach in the former library. The ceiling was peeling, the walls smelled of must, there were old books in there on dilapidated shelving. It was a dark and difficult room. Our teachers rose to a great challenge to teach in that room. Lou Zucker taught in that room for many years. Deborah Goldfarb taught in that room. I taught in that room. And now, the walls are painted. The floor is complete. There's no peeling paint from the ceiling. And the bookshelves have been remodeled. And it is now a very bright and very comfortable room. And thanks to Sisterhood, we had the opportunity, you all donated the mezuzah, which you can see on the screen. And on the mezuzah are written the words of the Shema and the Ve'ahavta, the key part of which is teach these words to your children, which is exactly what we are able to do in that room. In addition, a fund has been set up that allows us the opportunity to provide tutorial services and extra aid for those students who need that extra step, who need that extra help in learning. May I am tickled to death, and our congregational educational system is truly enriched by your generosity and that of your son, Charles. Together, I have a video of our dedication to share with you, so we will have a chance to see the dedication of the May Salinger Learning Center and Meeting Room. So welcome everyone. I want to extend special thank you to the Salinger family and their support of Temple Beth Or and generosity in helping to create the May Salinger Learning Center and Meeting Room. Not only will this room be used every Sunday during religious school as it has been, but thanks to you and your family, it is now a much more accommodating room for our students with clean walls and floors and non-peeling ceilings and tables and chairs and all kinds of great things to enhance the learning experience of our students. And in addition, thanks to your generosity, we have the ability to also afford scholarships for students who are in need for special learning, those who have learning challenges. You and your family have faced that on an intimate level. And I'm just so incredibly grateful that you have enabled the temple to not only have a better place for our students to study, but also a way for us to aid our students who need that aid to you. And now as we dedicate the May Salinger Learning Center and Meeting Room, may the door of this May Salinger Learning Center and Meeting Room be wide enough to receive all who hunger for learning, all who want to expand their knowledge. May the May Salinger Learning Center welcome all who have questions to ask, curiosity to quench, and hopes to nurture. May the May Salinger Meeting Room, may this doorway to the May Salinger Meeting Room be narrow enough to shut out closed-mindedness, prejudice, and pride. May its threshold be no stumbling block to learners, regardless of their abilities. May the doorway to the May Salinger Learning Center and Meeting Room be too high to admit ignorance, selfishness, and harshness. And may this May Salinger Learning Center and Meeting Room be for all who enter the doorway to a richer and more knowledge-filled life. And let us all say, Amen. We've done a lot of things tonight. Alyssa, you put together a fabulous service that reminded us of how we rose to the challenge of living through a pandemic. We had a chance to thank the now outgone board of Sisterhood, and as well have a chance to welcome the new board. And we had a chance as well to acknowledge May's contribution to our congregation and our students and their learning. And all of these things go hand in hand. We are part of a community that, just like making those cookies, brings together diverse thoughts, opinions, people, and brings them together to create something beautiful, something richer than our individual parts. And so, as a way to sing about our sisterhood leadership, as a way to rejoice in our students' learning environment and the scholarships now available to us, our Cantor is going to lead us in a song, L'Ador Vador, generation to generation, because that is what we are all about. Sisterhood, brotherhood, the religious school, the Hebrew lab, the temple board, the temple Beth Or itself. We are truly giving Dor L'Ador service.
We are gifts and we are blessings. We are history in song. We are hope and we are healing. We are learning to be strong. We are words and we are stories. We are pictures of the past. We are carriers of wisdom, not the first and not the last. Dor vador nagid God lecha, dor vador we protect this chain, generation to generation. The dor vador, these lips shall praise your name. Looking back on the journey that we carry in our hearts, from the shadow of the mountain to the waters that would part. We are blessed and we are holy. We are children of your way, and the word that brings us meaning we'll have the strength to say. Dor vador nagid God lecha, dor vador we protect this chain, from generation to generation. Dor vador, these lips will praise your name.
L'Ador Vador, generation to generation. We move to the conclusion of our worship service with the words of the Aleinu. The adoration will appear on the slides on the screen before us, or on page 282 in the prayer books if you wish to follow along. I invite us to rise as we are able, as we continue with the words of our adoration.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. אנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ היום ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד היום ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
We may be seated. Yes. Oh, yeah, we just
On behalf of a very grateful sisterhood who has seen more than they could imagine this past year with the pandemic, and for you who have shown such superior leadership, we are so grateful and thankful for everything that you have done, and it is my honor to give you this outgoing gift. May you go from strength to strength. Thank you.
Thank you, David. My fault for jumping into the uninstallation and the installation. Great. Are we ready to continue with our next video?
You are not just a number. You all had faces, you all had names, and a story you left behind. You turned into numbers, some not even counted, just registered as figures on bar charts, line graphs, and statistics. You all left friends and relatives who never got the chance to say farewell, or even to see you before you closed your eyes on this world. Many of you died prematurely because we were told you were going to die anyway. Many of you died not even being aware of the deadly disease called COVID-19. Many of you died because you were told everything was under control and you would be safe if you stayed at home. Many of you died because you were made to believe the virus wouldn't kill you unless you were old with underlying health conditions. Many of you died heroically as you put others' lives before yours. You all had faces, you all had names, but you are not just a number. You are someone we love, a sister, a brother, a father, a mother. May all of you rest in peace, whatever your color, ethnicity, gender, and religion, and deep condolences to all your loved ones put in this position.
What a very lovely tribute to our departed Sisterhood members and indeed longtime Temple Beth-Or members. Our thoughts now turn to, in addition to those that we have just seen, those we continue to keep named in the quiet places of our hearts and our memories. I invite us to rise as we are able. The words to our Kaddish, for those who would like to refer to them in the prayer book, are on page 292. We call to mind one for whom we are observing the Shloshim, the 30-day period since her death, Anne Phillips, the half-sister of Joanne Kotkin. To her name, we link the names of those whose yardsites have occurred during this past week: Teresa Francis Dezen, Harry Chudnoff, Madeline Moss, Jean Crane, Richard Arlene, Florence Singer Grant, Lillian Catherine Loomis, Jerry Kritchmar, Eleanor Amstetter, Don W. Fagan, Lucy Hanan, Brian Klein, Saul Silverberg, Mary Gurwitch, Rosalind V. Willinger, Harry Klein, Joan Davis Matthews, Leo Loftschi, Esther Adelson, Deborah Lynn Perlmutter, Suzanne M. Cohn, Colonel William Simons, Henry Winkheller, Teresa Almada, Sam Lefton, Roland Berger, Martha Newman, and Paul Schwartz. To those names, we link the names of those for whom we are observing the Kaddish period: Cleavon Steve Dyson, Harry Bass, Martha Manriquez, Enid Malkin, Phyllis Ryback Diamond, Marvin First, Robert Weber, Marvin J. Gilman, Elvia Amirez, Marlene Bilsma, Bernard Haber, Sam Ursus, Rosalie McKenzie, Hal Bruce Hemleben Jr., Joseph Rofe, Mildred Sane, Harold Weber, Karen Copeland, Rita Silverman, Sandra Pascas, Marlene Engel, Leslie Pascas, Amador, Edith Azaro, Concha Chavez, John Young, Gerald Kotkin, Ross B. Shear, Jenna Gordon, Doug Austin, Edith Chess, and Berta Ursus. If there's a loved one whom you are remembering, I invite you to share that name at this time. To those that we have named aloud and those that we keep named in the quiet places of our hearts and memories, we link as well the almost 600,000 Americans who have died from this COVID-19 pandemic, as well as just this past week, the 750 Americans who died by gun violence. May their memories be for a blessing and inspire us to acts of kindness and courage. We link as well the names and memories of the men and women of our armed forces who have given their lives for our safety, given our lives for our liberty and our freedoms. Those who have given their lives for our safety here at home, members of our police, our firefighters, and other first responders, and the members of the Israeli Defense Forces who have given their lives for the hope of peace. Zechronam levracha. May their memories always be for a blessing. As we share together the words of our Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah. V'yalma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute. B'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uvizman kari v'imru. Amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach le'olam ulalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, shemei dekudesha b'richu, la'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru. Amen. May all of us who mourn, and all of us who are bereaved, may we find through God's eternal presence a source of strength, courage, and hope, above all a source of shalom, of peace. And let us all say, Amen. We conclude our service this evening with the singing of those final words from the Kaddish, based on the book of Job, Oseh shalom bimromav. May the one who makes peace in the high heavens give us the strength and the courage to make peace here in this world. And we all say, Amen.
Oseh shalom bimromav. ממרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן.
I ask that we wait for just a moment for our dismissal. On your way out, be sure to pick up a grab-and-go oneg bag hosted by our sisterhood this evening. Inside, you'll find a box of juice and other items. We are going to share a kiddush here. Yes. We're going to share a kiddush celebrating the joy of our sisterhood. Yesher kochech to Alyssa on a beautiful service. Well done to the new sisterhood board. Yesher koach and much strength and courage in the year ahead as we share together in the words of our kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, בשבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו, זיכרון למעשה וראשית, כיום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. הבנו בחרת אותנו קידשת מכל העמים, בשבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. Amen. L'chaim. L'chaim.
L'chaim, Ray. L'chaim, everyone. Shabbat shalom. We invite the first row to please exit.
Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shalom, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shalom, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat,